right, now joining me to talk about some NBA from the GOAT NBA podcast from Stratechery, it's Andrew Sharp. Andrew, what up?
What's up, man? Great to be here. Just closing out August with you. It's a great honor for me.
I appreciate you coming on, man. We just spent our weekend in Chicago with a little trip. We'll talk about Chicago later, but we're going to start out with the NBA entertainment rankings, continuing with the next 5 teams, starting with number 19, the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers get rid of Thiago Splitter this offseason. The whole big controversy with Tom Dundon cheaping out on him. They end up hiring Mike Nori to this unorthodox, non-guaranteed contract after some successful years in Minnesota for him, and they make a big acquisition. They get Ja Morant. They're the team that actually goes out and gets Ja Morant after he hit a big low in Memphis. And I think that leads to my first thought when it comes to Portland this year. How the hell is this team going to work with all of these guards? I cannot wait to watch the Blazers with Damian Lillard come back, Ja Morant resurgent, Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday, Sharp's a guard, Denny gets touches. How is Mike Nori going to make it work in Portland with all these guards?
I know, man. Poor Mike Nori, effectively coaching on like a 10-day contract up there in Portland, trying to make it work with this mess of a roster. So here's the thing. I actually found myself really enjoying last year's Blazers because they played really, really hard. They were great defensively. They were kind of overachieving all season long. And so they tended to be in just competitive games night in and night out. And I worry that a lot of the soul of last year's team is just going to get screwed up with this year's version. So I think 19th is actually the perfect spot for the Blazers in terms of entertainment value, because coming into the season, looking at what they're going to try to make work, I just think we've got the potential for some extremely weird and potentially bad vibes with this year's Blazers. So it's like, I want to keep them at arm's length as we head into the season here.
Yeah, and I think with Portland, the reason why they rank a little bit on the lower end, 19, I think they'll be entertaining. To be clear, they're a fun team to watch. But that's the funnest thing about them is, like, from a tactical standpoint, what it was last year. To your point, they're a very fun, gritty, hard-nosed team to watch.
They had an identity last year. I don't know what the identity will be this year. Like, whose team is it? Is it Ja's team? Is it Dame's team? They've got 4 guards for 2 spots. All of them are sort of point guard-ish. And then, with Dame, because of what he means in that market, they're going to have to give him a lot of deference. I don't know what the plan is with Ja, why they brought Ja in. But the other thing that concerns me is Denny is so much better playing on the ball than he would be playing off the ball. So I don't want to take the ball out of Denny's slot because of all the commitments they've made here. Mike Nori is probably going to have to do that. So I just don't know what the hell it will look like, which I guess is interesting, but also a little concerning.
Exactly. And I think that's when I look at this team, like, they're not quite a contender, so they don't have the highest stakes. They don't, star gravity, Dame's popular, but he's also coming off a torn Achilles, and Ja was popular. Maybe those guys can become must-watch TV again. We'll see. They don't have the brightest future necessarily either. I like some of the young guys, but nobody is like going to be a guaranteed star. And so I don't think this team is going to be horrific either. I think they're going to be a competitive team. I don't know how it's going to work. And I think with Mike Nori, we saw him when he had opportunities as a interim or replacement head coach, if the coach got thrown out or whatever, and he was pretty good. But it's hard to tell when you're a replacement compared to being the guy. The one thing I think is so interesting from Blazers fans is they now don't seem too bent up out of shape for losing Splitter. It's just about how they lost Splitter with Dundon really lowballing him. It's just about how it happened, not about actually losing him. So I think Blazers fans seem open-minded about the idea of Mike Nori being a coach that can be brought in and make things work here. I just think with all of these guys, like you said with Dame, he is the face of the franchise even still after leaving. So how is it going to work with him and Ja? Like, Ja Morant is a guy who's never been successful playing off the ball. How does that work with Dame? How does that work with Denny?
Dame hasn't really. Yeah.
No, he has. Like, it never didn't work with Giannis. And then Scoot Henderson, he had 30-point games in the playoffs. He closed the year great and like finally
Right.
started to look like he was on track. And suddenly he has old Dame, and Ja Morant ahead of him on the depth chart. So what is the focus here for Portland? I feel a lot of confusion with the state of this franchise.
Yeah, well, and I also think fans are pretty confused as well, and that's going to be part of what contributes to potentially bad vibes next season, because there's the Dundon tension and the Dundon weirdness with Splitter, the weird deal for Micah Nori. And so if they start out the year kind of flatlining after last year's momentum, that's where my guard is up for, this could get more dysfunctional than it seems like it would be possible to. I don't think people are bracing for how low the floor could get in Portland this year, just because of all the weirdness surrounding that franchise, the clunky fit of the roster. Micah Nori will have his work cut out for him. Let's put it that way.
You seem a little bit lower on them than I am. Like, just hearing the way you talk about the floor, they're 42-40 last year. They end up the 7 seed out of the
Played
play-in.
hard all year. Yep.
So you're thinking about like Dallas, Utah, Phoenix, like even Golden State if Steph plays a lot of games. You're thinking about like maybe Portland being a team that falls out of the play-in entirely. Is that how you're thinking about their floor?
A little bit. Yeah, and the reason I'm low is because I'm low on Dame, and I'm low like Dame at this point in his career. What are you really going to get from him? And Ja at this point in his career, what are you getting from him? And because of the commitments made to those guys, I think that they're going to have to put the ball in their hands, and I just like the team a lot less if that's the plan. Let alone trying to play those two guys together and make that work. Like, I think that's just DOA on opening night. But even if you're splitting them up, like, what are you really getting from those guys? And how does that change the identity of the team that was pretty successful and fun last year? That's why I'm bracing for like a 12th place finish in the worst case scenario, as opposed to the floor being 8 or 9 or 10.
I think a big part of that will also be Donovan Clingan staying healthy. 67 games year 1, 77 games year 2. Hopefully, after he's had a little bit of lower body issues prior in college, if he can continue to stay healthy, I think that raises their floor with his ability as a 7-footer to protect the rim, rebound, and even space the floor. Now, I mean, he had three 3-pointers per game last year, made 34% of them. If he can be a floor spacing 5, one of those rare centers that can space and protect the rim on the other end, I think that raises your floor. But big questions up and down that Portland roster, and that's why I have them 19th